Okay, so on this first one, if you were stuck on how to know if something's a function, remember a function is something that has no x's that repeat. So if you take a single x value and you look and you see if the function hits any of those x values. So if I look along this x value, I go, okay, that hits up here, which is okay, it can hit once. And then I look, oh, it hits down here. Nope, that hits two x values. It hits two different values for a single x, so that x repeats. So because that x repeats, this thing is not a function. Another way you can say that is a vertical line test. If you draw a vertical line, if it ever hits 2 points, that means it hits two x values, so it is not a function. Okay, so if we look and we go, how many solutions does this system have? I would say, what's a solution? And the answer to this should be where it crosses. And if you look, this thing doesn't cross, so it has no solutions. So that's the answer. No solutions. Not going to happen. Doesn't cross. These lines are parallel, so they will never cross. Now this question is a tricky one because it asks you how many solutions will it have? And you can see right here, this has no solutions, right? It doesn't cross. But what is this thing doing? Like if we extended this line and kept drawing it. So let's keep drawing it. And we extended this line and we kept drawing it. Oh, we can see that this thing eventually will have one solution out here. So this thing will have one solution. Unlike our last example where these things keep going off on their own direction and will never cross. This will actually cross. Let's solve this problem. We would solve this problem with substitution. So we would write y equals, I'm going to make my pen just a little bit larger, y equals 5x minus 7. So we would want to take this and replace it with that y down there. So what we would want to write is we'd want to write negative 3x minus 2. And instead of writing y, we're going to put 5x minus 7 equals negative 12. I would then have 3x minus 10x minus 7 equals negative 12. I would combine my like terms and get that I have negative 13x. Oh, I made a mistake. I didn't distribute properly. So I should get negative 10x here. But 2 times negative 7 should give me a positive 14. And that equals negative 12. We would then minus 14 on each side. And I would get negative 13 equals negative 26. I would then divide by negative 13, and I would get that x is equal to 2. Well, now that you know what x equals, you can take that and plug that back in for y, or for x, to find your y. And I'm making all kinds of mistakes when I'm writing this down. I guess that would be 5 times 2 minus 7, which y would be 10 minus 7, or y would be 3. So our two answers would be x is 2 and y is 3. Big things to not forget when you're substituting is you don't want to forget to distribute like I did there. That will create your answer like bad answers for you. Okay, so let's try this problem right here. What I would want to do for this problem is elimination because it is stacked. It'd be really easy to do elimination if these signs were different on the bottom, because you can see negative 2 and negative 2 doesn't quite cancel. So we're going to just change the signs on the bottom to what we want. Now if you change one sign, you have to change the others. So if you change one sign, you have to change the rest. So now I'm going to add. I'm going to get negative 8x. That will cancel. And this will give me negative 24. I'll divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8. X will give me 3. Well, now that I have x is equal to 3, I can plug it back in for one of these things. So 3 minus 2y equals 11. subtract 3, get negative 2y equals 8. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. Y would give me negative 4. So those would be my two answers, 3 and negative 4. Okay, so now we're reading this one. Matt and Ming are selling fruits at a school fundraiser. Customers can buy small boxes of oranges and large boxes of oranges. Matt sold 3 small oranges and 14 large oranges for $2.03, and Ming sold 11 and 11 and made $2.20. And they want to know, how much does a small and large box cost? Well, first I'd want to write an equation based off of this. So I would say 3s plus 14l would equal 203. And I would say that 11s plus 11l would equal 220. Now we have 2 variables and 2 equations, so we could solve this by elimination. Both variables are different, so I would want to multiply this top by negative 11, and I would want to multiply this bottom by 3 and kind of see what we get. We should get 33s plus, I'm going to do this off on the side, negative 154 L equals 2,233. That's a negative also. And we're going to add this to the bottom, so that'd be 33s plus 33L equals 660. I'll cross that out. 154 minus 33. That gives us 121. And then we would have 233 minus 660. That would be 1,573. I would divide and I would get 13. And I think for this one they didn't ask for both, they just asked for the large boxes. So because they just asked for the large boxes, that would just be your answer. You don't have to plug it in and find the other one. Let's do the next problem. I kind of moved out of order for that last problem, unfortunately, so we're going to backtrack to the last one, which is 2 numbers add together give 12 and minus together to get 6. So we would know that if 2 numbers need to add together to get 12, well, that would be x plus y equals 12. And 2 numbers need to subtract together to get 6, so it would be x minus y is equal to 6. We would then use elimination. That will cancel out. I'll get 2x. That would add together and I'd get 18. I'd divide both sides by 2. And I get x is equal to 9. So the first number is 9. Well, 9 minus what gives you 6? So that means the second number is 3. That also works for the 12, so 9 plus 3 is 12. So those are the 2 numbers. For this, I just need to know how many solutions it has. And you can see that it's in this weird form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it in kind of a normal form. So I want to move, I'm going to move this 3 to the other side and move this 7 to the other side. So to do that, what I would have to do, if I had this equation right here, is that I have to add 7x here and add 7x here and add 3 and add 3. And we can see that what we're going to get is 7x plus 5y equals 3. Now when you look, that is identical to this. Well, if you have 2 lines that are identical, that means they're the same line. And if you think about graphing the same line over top of itself, you would go, oh, that has infinite solutions. Because it's the same line. It crosses here and here and here. It just crosses everywhere. So just make sure that you knew that that was infinite because they're the same line. Okay, so we'd have to solve and graph this one. First thing I would do is I'd subtract 5 on each side. I get 2x is greater than 2. I'd then divide by 2, and I'd get x is greater than 1. Then when I graph this, I'd make a point at 1. It'd be an open circle because this is not equal to, and since it's greater than, it would go off to the right. And so that would be the answer to that one. I do not flip the sign because I did not divide by a negative number, and I know it goes off to the right because it faces towards the x. So things facing towards the x will go to the right. Things facing away from the x will go to the left. For this is really in two parts. The first part is write an equation. So they say, while training for a marathon, you try to consume at least 2,400 calories. So I would already write that down and say, we want to consume at least that, or this side is more than 2,400. They say for one meal. And they say you get to eat 500 calories. Well, if I get to eat 500 calories, that means for one meal I ate 500, but then I can eat some more calories. So we'll say the plus C, like I'm going to have 500 plus some other more calories. And then say, how many calories do you have to eat for the rest of the day? We'd want to subtract by 500 and say that C is greater than 1,900. So I would need to eat this or bigger than 1,900 calories. So that's that first equation we wrote, and that's the second answer for it. It's important to note that I didn't put 1,900 on there as an answer, though, because you need to eat more than that. So that's why one of my answers is bigger than that. How many calories can he eat? He has to eat more than 1,900 or equal to it. So there's a lot of different answers, but only one was truly more than that. Try the next one. Okay, so we're going to look at this right here. This is a proportion, so you need to cross multiply. When you cross multiply, what you want to think about is you always want to multiply. Do I multiply by one term? Do I multiply by the x, the number, or both? And the answer always is both. So we would do 3 times 2 and 3 times 3 on this side. So that would be 6x plus 9. On this side we do 5 times x and 5 times 3. So that would be 5x plus 15. Then we would want to solve this. So I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. We're going to get x plus 9 equals 15. I'm then going to subtract 9 on each side. I'm going to get that x is equal to, that x is equal to 6. And that would be my final answer. If you have any questions over how to do any of this stuff, or something didn't make sense in the video, please ask, or try to watch it a second time and kind of see the exact spot where you made a mistake.